screen.
What's up, guys? We're back here for another episode 4. This is real time. We're gonna be talking about 90s movies that impacted you or influenced you in any way. So, just want to make a big shout out to my boy here, D. He's our main guest today. You know what I'm saying? We were in the building. My boy Eric C. And the First Lady, IVA, in the building also. Say hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Spanglish translation. Spanglish.
Hola, ¿cómo están todos? Aquí estamos. Sintonízase y denle share, por favor.
Yes.
Si hay algo que está mirando, si la pantalla está fuera de sitio, déjenoslo saber.
Voltéese usted.
Usted volteese.
I just want to say also thank you for having me on the show today.
Yeah, my brother.
It's going to be a pleasure talking about something that I'm really fond of, that I know. I'm a movie guy. Anybody that knows me knows that.
Right.
If you guys are watching, again, like they said, hit share, like, get everybody tuned in. We're going to talk about some good ones today, and we're just going to get it rolling.
Right. Eric.
We're going to talk about movies. At the same time, you guys see me here. Whoever wants to write to us during the show, I'm sure a lot of people are going to think of a movie that we didn't mention, or maybe we'll start talking about a movie and there's a scene that you guys remember. So feel free to be involved with us. This is something, I'm a movie buff.
Me too, man.
And
I love movies.
I don't think there's very few people left that don't have Netflix.
Yeah.
Or Amazon.
If you don't have it, you are missing
I know.
the point.
Yes.
You're missing out.
Bueno, I am missing out because the thing is with my phone, it's an iPhone 7 and I cannot download some of the things. So every time I'm trying, I cannot download anything.
Well, I think first thing on your agenda is to upgrade so you can download
Yes.
the Netflix.
Top on the bucket
So you
list.
see,
So yeah, guys, let's break the ice. You know, this is a topic that it was inspired firsthand by my brother here, D. He had mentioned, you know, you came in one day to the shop and you were like, hey, you know, what are the 5 movies, right?
Yeah.
The top 5 movies that impacted you as a man, you know, that changed you as a person. And, you know, we talked a whole lot of different movies, and, you know, just to break the ice, I said one of mine was Ace Ventura, guys. You know?
Oh my God.
Pet Detective, you know? And, you know, that was a funny movie to me, but, you know, I think that I missed the whole concept of the question, right?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say you missed it because you technically did answer it. If it's a memorable movie, in my opinion, you know, it impacted you. You know, it's a movie that you remember. You might have, as plain and as humorous as that movie is, it still impacts you in a way. You might have took some lines from that movie and, you know, said it to somebody and brightened somebody's day or whatever, you know. But I think, you know, the essence of the question that I asked was, the movies that every male should see in their lifetime. You know, now granted, we're going to probably dive a little bit deeper and just be a little more broad in this topic, you know, for today. But I mean, when you think about movies of the 90s, you know, I'm an 80s baby. I was born in 82, and that generation right out the 80s, the 90s, you know, there was still some very, very good movies, a lot of good movies that came along in the 90s. As Eric just mentioned, you know, he's a movie guy, you're a movie guy, he even knows a little bit about it. So there's going to be a lot of movies that we could just go on and on about it. But, you know, I feel like we need to really pay attention to the ones that, you know, are definitely impactful in some type of way. Preferably positive, obviously, you know, but I mean.
But we all know that, you know, there's times you're in the mood for that. Sometimes you're in the mood to just laugh. Sometimes you're in the mood for action. Sometimes we like to see, you know, things that are a little controversial. But I think the 90s was full of a lot of iconic movies that, you know, that we'll never forget. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
No, go on.
No, you go ahead.
No, you. Oye, no me grites. Para los que están viendo en español, mira. Hoy estamos hablando de las películas de los 90s. Ok, lo bueno es que ahora tenemos Google, so si no sabemos si está en el momento podemos chequear un momentico. Pero estamos hablando aquí entre nosotros de las películas que nos impactaron en los 90, películas que uno se acuerda de la línea de la película. películas que de pronto te tocaron o te marcaron, o cada vez que tú la ves en la televisión te hace acordar de algo que tú estabas pasando en ese momento. So, estamos hablando, bueno, somos fanáticos de las películas.
Right. What does the first lady have to say about all this?
La primera dama de la
La
nación.
primera dama de la nación.
De creada, okay.
What was the movie that impacted you?
I like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs.
Oh
Doubtfire.
my God.
That was I love
Robin
that movie.
Williams, man.
Robin Williams, Sally Fields.
I remember like watching that movie with my kids over and over and over. It didn't matter like how old it was. I think even in the year 2000 we used to watch that movie.
Right,
I
right.
love the movie. I like the way he dresses himself in the restaurant and come back and then pretend that he was the nanny, right?
Right.
So I really, really love that movie.
Just comes to show you like the love of a parent, the
Yeah.
extreme that he went to be with his kids. You know, that was one thing that
it was
impacted me.
a funny way of making a movie about divorce.
Right. Right.
And I remember around that time, I thought, you always think in most movies that at the end they were gonna end up together,
Right. Right.
and they didn't.
Someone say they love it. Just someone said that they love that movie.
Yeah. that
Well,
movie's-
the thing that I like, just, a few technical points about Mrs. Doubtfire. It was released in 1993. It had Robin Williams, Sally Field, Pierce Brosnan. I'm a fan of Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
Because Pierce Brosnan is one of the
007,
James Bonds.
yeah.
Not my favorite James Bond, but I'll go on that later.
Oh, really?
But, no,
Whoa, man,
I'm
that's
a
a
James
big
Bond
topic.
guy now. But the thing that I liked about Mrs. Doubtfire was special to me because I mentioned the story. I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but I had an opportunity to meet Robin Williams when I was in the military.
Yeah, I think you said
So
that to me.
Robin Williams was very adamant on doing the USO shows overseas.
Oh, nice.
So he would go overseas, and when the soldiers were stationed in Iraq and Afghanistan and other places abroad, he would go over and do little comedy shows just to boost the morale of the soldiers. And I remember that it was a time around Christmas time when I was deployed to Afghanistan and Kandahar, and he was there. It was him. It was the wrestler Kurt Angle. It was the race car driver Jimmy Johnson, I believe, and a few other people.
Mm-hmm.
And Robin Williams proceeded to do a comedy set, 9,000 miles away from my home,
Right.
and in the middle of the desert at nighttime, and it was just so memorable to me. And then afterwards, I had an opportunity to go on the stage and take a photo with him, and I happened to be one of the guys that was standing right next to him. So he was sitting down, and then I was standing next to him, and then everybody was around us. And I remember that we were in close, and they were making us get in tighter. And he said something just hilarious to me. It was a little raunchy, but it was so funny to me. And when they took the picture, it caught me cheesing so hard because he said something to make me laugh.
Right.
So fast forward to when he passed away, I was in Palm Beach on a little quick vacation. And when it came up that he passed away due to suicide,
What was his
I remember crying because I remember
We're talking
meeting,
about Robin Williams,
Right.
okay?
I remember meeting him,
Wow.
and it was
It hit home.
It hit home,
Yeah,
because
of
you
course.
met him,
Of
But
course.
then I started going through all of the movies that he
Right.
was in,
Right.
Mrs. Doubtfire, Good Morning
Morning,
Vietnam,
Vietnam. I was just-
all of
yeah.
the movies like
Good
Yeah.
morning, Vietnam.
I mean,
Yeah,
he
man,
was
that
just
was-
I don't remember that
It's a
movie.
great
He was in the army and he was
Yeah.
on the radio.
He was a radio
Yeah,
show.
It was
I
like
gotta
during the
watch that
Vietnam
movie.
War.
That movie is
He was the
amazing.
army radio. He was a funny radio.
Yeah,
host.
he was. He
Right,
was.
but in that movie, just being able to, like you said, relate to divorce. You know what I mean? It takes a father who shows the love of his kids,
Right.
and he's able to go and in whatever way he can, he finesses the system. He becomes a nanny, like literally becomes a lady.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
hilarity ensues when he dresses
And that
up.
was
I remember-
Aerosmith, the song.
Yeah,
Oh, my
exactly. Yeah, but then it also changed him. It made him more responsible. It
Right.
made him more loving towards being in his children's lives.
Right.
So it was a great movie. I really, really, really like Mr.
So the other thing is, there's a reality, right? Like, all divorce, all separations are tough.
Right.
And then, the mom was dealing with trying to raise them, since he was he dealt with cartoons and he was a comedian.
Right.
He was like the fun one out of both of them.
Right, not too serious.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Right.
then through this situation, he kind of like put himself in a position where, like, wow, he had to step up through being Mrs. Doubtfire, he had to be like that, like the person that he wasn't when he was living at the house. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, crazy
He was
movie.
like,
Because
he was looking at himself like he was the dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one that was getting divorced, and he had to pretend that he was the nanny.
Yeah.
That's kind of, oh my God.
And not only that, but I think that, like, from an artist, you know, movie star, and all the ranges that he was in as a comedian, you have an alter ego.
Right.
You know, so when you're an artist and you get on stage, you know, for instance, you're a totally different person.
Right.
And, you know, to see that was like what he portrayed in that movie. You know, he's like, not only because of the love for his kids, but when he became Mrs. Doubtfire, he became an alter ego. He was like, you know, and I'm sure that he probably learned a lot about, you know, his wife or ex-wife at the time.
He
you know,
even learned how to cook.
He learned how to cook. So, you know, yeah, you start to see things at a different point. Yeah.
Right. And then the other element also is Pierce Brosnan's character, his name was Stu.
Yeah.
And he was the boyfriend of the mother, Miranda, Sally
right.
Field.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, on top of everything that you're dealing with, you got to
You
deal
have
with
to
the new
see
boyfriend.
that, right?
You got to see the boyfriend. You know, here you got this suave, debonair, you know, the new guy. Like, hey, you're the funny guy, but I'm the cool guy. I'm the new guy. So step aside type thing. So it's a matter of, you know, a male's ego. You know, if you're trying to be in your child's life, and you might have moved on from the relationship that you have with your children's mother.
Right.
But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, there's still going to be something, an inhibition there when you see, you know, your former ex, you know, or your former wife or girlfriend with another guy. And this guy legit looks like he has it together more than you do. You know what I mean? Again, Robin Williams' character was the sloppy, funny, you know, wholesome, love life, laughter life guy.
Right.
And Pierce Brosnan's character was the suit and the slick back hair and the clean shave and the gentleman, the GQ, you know what I mean? So, you know.
That was, you know, it comes to show you that not only another perspective that we look at, like you say, seeing your ex or somebody else, but to have them be intimate in front of you, and he's just like holding his composure.
Right.
That told a lot about him.
And then take it a step further. Let's say the kids start liking that person.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, that
irks you
that's
too.
tough.
Yeah,
it is.
You know, because you see your kids getting close to that person.
I think that was a great movie.
So it was a good movie. And then talking about Robin Williams, to me, what I also used to analyze was how he kept the character of the Miss Doubtfire like perfect. Right,
Yes.
through the whole movie, like to do a voice.
Yeah.
And I remember during that time.
I know, right?
But I remember during that time he did remember the movie Aladdin?
Yes.
He did. I don't think
He was a genie.
hundreds of characters.
Yeah.
He did hundreds of characters as a genie.
Yeah. He's
I mean, the guy was, to me, he's one of the top.
You know, one of the things that impacted me so